Hello everyone, my name is Mr. B and welcome back to another video. So the summer anime season is now fully underway with most shows having already aired 3 or so episodes. Coming into this season, I, much like a lot of people, thought that this season is going to be much more slower compared to some of the other previous anime seasons that we've got because aside from shows like Oshinoko and I guess Tower of God, there isn't really any big shows that are coming back for this season. And yes, I'm not counting Fairy Tail because let's be real, who watches Fairy Tail nowadays? And so coming into this season, the big sequels are Oshinoko Season 2 and Tower of God Season 2, and a lot of the new shows are new shows. But not only are they new shows, a majority of shows that are coming out this season are slice of life. And having watched a few shows from this season, I will say that this season has been cooking. A lot of the new shows are really interesting. A lot of new shows are really good. And maybe I'm biased because I love slice of life, but this season is a lot better than a lot of people might probably have expected, including myself. So with that said, I have narrowed down 4 shows for me to talk about because it's been a while since I talked about anime and I don't really have a single show to make a full dedicated video on. So I want to talk about 4 shows in particular and just give you guys my thoughts on these shows and why I'm watching these shows and what are my expectations from these shows. Please note that I'm only going to be focusing on slice of life shows. So shows like Shikanoko no Konoko Koshtantan, even though it is technically a slice of life, it is much more of a gag comedy show. So I'm only going to be focusing on pure slice of life. And that's gonna be hard to explain, but if you're familiar with the slice of life genre, if you're familiar with some shows that are like slice of life, you probably understand what I'm talking about. Also, I will say that these are not going to be underrated shows by any means. No, if you're watching seasonal anime, these are shows that you're probably already watching. These are shows that are going to be very big, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this show is very underrated, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. These are shows that a lot of people are watching. I know that. That said, this video probably not going to make a lot of views because I'm talking about popular stuff, but I don't care. I just want to talk about these shows because I'm really enjoying these shows. And it's been a while since I talked about anime, so here I am.
おはよう、クゼくん。おはよう、クゼくん。また深夜アニメ
Alia sometimes hides her feeling in Russian is definitely one of the more popular shows for this season. A story about a girl who is usually harsh to this guy but actually hides her feeling for him in Russian because she thinks he can't understand her. Well, surprise, he actually can but chooses not to tell her because it'll just make things awkward if he lets her know after she's been doing this for a while. I'll be honest, I wasn't really sold on the show when I first heard about it. Sure, the art looked great, the promotional art looked great, Alia looks incredible, I am a sucker for white hair anime girls, and I really think Alia is attractive, but that was just that. I figured that it was gonna be another forgettable light novel based anime that people say are good, but people are just gonna forget about it after like a few weeks. But out of curiosity, I decided to check on the trailer because there's not a lot of shows for me to watch this season, so I checked it out, the trailer, and yeah, I was sold.
反応しちゃうから
Fan service aside, and there's a lot of fan service here, I generally think that this is a fun show. The first episode was fun, Alia is freaking adorable, and I do like the main character as well. He's pretty funny, and I like his interaction with the other characters, which for me is very important for these types of shows. It definitely gives off this vibe of like, oh, it's gonna be a lighthearted show, but there's gonna be some drama inserted here and there, sort of similar to, say, like Oregairu sort of things, but maybe less dramatic than Oregairu, but those kind of like vibes to it. If they do the drama parts well, then I could see myself really liking the show. I could probably see this being one of my personal favorites from this year in general because I love these types of shows. It's been a while since I watched this type of show before, so I'm more than happy to have this type of show airing this season, and I'm more than happy to watch it and see how it goes.
先輩、恋愛とか興味あったんですか
失礼な。そりゃ俺だってハーレムとか夢見ることぐらいあるさ。
ハーレムじゃあ、今度私がデートしてあげよっか
Sudu Haram is a story that I'm very much familiar with. I read this manga ages ago, and it's something that I would consider to be a comfort manga for me. The story about a girl who is in love with her senpai and decides to act out a mini harem for him because she's the best. Rin is adorable, her relationship with her senpai is adorable. I get that some people might be turned off by the animation, but as the manga reader, I love it because it is very similar to the manga art style. Rin is voiced by Hayami Saori, who, if you don't know the name, voiced these characters.
鬼を殺せる毒を作ったちょっとすごい人なんですよ。息の根止めさせていただいてもよろしいでしょう。吐き震いましょう。本当に誰からも好かれるならそれも良かったかもしれないわね。これから君たちの船に乗せてもらう光月おでんことヤマトだ。
So this show is basically Hayami Saori flexing her VA skills and basically voicing every single character that she's voiced before, and it works. It makes Rin way more believable because she's supposed to be this very good actress, and so it makes her very believable that she's able to sort of act out different personalities and change her voice depending on these personalities because she has a very talented voice actor. I'll be honest, this show is not going to win any awards. It's not going to be the best show of this season. It's going to be one of those shows where I consider it to be comfort shows. It's going to be a show where you can just put on, turn your brain off, and just enjoy some cute romance doki doki with some little bit of fan service in terms of like the harem aspects of it. It's pretty fun. I like it. I enjoyed the manga a lot, and this is going to be something that's going to be probably one of my personal favorites from this season. If you want a show that is slightly different from usual harems and you want generally a good romance show with slight harem here and there, I recommend checking this out. It's pretty fun, it's pretty chill, and I quite enjoy it.
おいしい？
おいしい。でも今月はまだ他にお楽しみがあるの。
Based on a series of novels written by the same author as Hyoka comes How to Become Ordinary. And much like Hyoka, I can't tell you what the show is about. How to Become Ordinary is a show about two eccentric characters who aim to live normal lives. Both characters seem to have had made some sort of pact to move on from who they were in the past to focus on being regular, ordinary people. Despite that, there are circumstances that happen and starts to affect them living their normal, peaceful lives. That description is so vague because genuinely, that's the best I could explain this show without spoiling anything. And even if I could spoil something, I can't really explain what this show is about. It's really hard for me to talk about this show. It has that sort of like mystery element to it. It has very similar vibes to Hyoka, but a lot more mysterious and a lot more serious in some ways. I can't really put a finger on it, but you know those shows where you watch it and you don't really know how to explain it, but you get this sort of like vibe to it. You get this sort of like, oh, this show is gonna be something different. This show is gonna be something special. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's sort of like the vibe that you get. It's based on a series of novels or a novel, I'm not really sure which one. It's not based on a light novel, so the story is gonna be a lot longer. The payoff, I think, is gonna be a lot longer. You're not gonna get the payoff within the first 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes are just building up who these characters are. Even then, I think the first 3 episodes aren't enough to sort of let you know what this show is going to be about. It's one of those shows where I personally cannot really tell if it's going to be good or not until the end of the season, which gets me really excited because I'm down for like a ride with the show. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But yeah, I think this show, I'm going to reserve my judgment until the end of this season and see where this show lands.
ごめん。
謝らないでよ。
ここは見て見ぬふりをしよう。
The last show I want to talk about is probably my most anticipated show of this season ever since I heard the title. Too Many Losing Heroines is a show about characters who lost the waifu wars. Imagine you watch a harem anime or a romance anime, you will have normally at least 2 girls fighting over a guy. This is a story about a group of girls who were not chosen by the main character. The premise of the show is very interesting, it's very novel in my opinion, and the art style, the animation is really beautiful. The first few minutes of the first episode was more than enough for me to get invested in the show. I love Yanami's design, she's really cute, and I love the facial expressions she makes. The main character, Kazuhiko, is giving off background character vibes, which is kind of the point because the show is about him witnessing these rejections and somehow just starts hanging out with them. I also like the other characters, and Yanami aside, most of the characters look very normal and grounded, which I really like. The characters, I believe, are designed by the same illustrator or same designer who designed the characters for Licorice Recall, which would make sense because the characters in Too Many Losing Heroines look very normal, but at the same time has this very unique style to them, which I really like. I will say though, it's going to be interesting to see how far the show is going to be able to take this premise of losing heroines with the story. As it stands, I do have a feeling that this show is going to fall down this trope where these girls are rejected by the guys that they like, and they all surround the main character Kazuhiko, and somehow they form like a harem around him. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's sort of the feeling that I get. Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong. I know it's based on a light novel. I don't want to hear anything about a light novel because I'm enjoying this show so far. This is probably one of my favorite shows of this season, probably only behind Oshinoko and Alia Heiser Feelings in Russian. This is one of my personal favorite shows from this season. I quite enjoy it. I'm really enjoying how this show is right now, and I'm really looking forward to how the shows continue to develop and whether or not it's gonna be really good. But yeah, those are the 4 shows that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, there's so much more slice of life shows that are out this season, probably a lot more that I haven't even seen yet. But these are the shows that I wanted to talk about. These are the shows that I'm really looking forward to, really excited to watch this season, and shows that I'm really having fun with watching. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of the shows I mentioned. Are you watching these shows, or are you watching other shows, other slice of lives that I probably haven't seen yet? If you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.